Hey, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, a reminder to please like our content and subscribe to the channel. We post about Google Ads at least once every week. So today I'm going to be covering Google Ads specifically for automotive product sellers. And this is a wide swath of different businesses, but it's going to include OEM or aftermarket parts providers, accessories and upgrades, vehicle cleaning and other supplies, mechanic tools, branded clothing, and all kinds of stuff. So basically anything in the automotive space I'm going to be covering in this video. A quick note that there's a longer blog post with a lot more detail that I'll link in here as well. So if you want to just like kind of learn a lot more detail, then I do recommend reading that article. So first off, I'm going to talk about Google Ads eccentricities, and there's kind of two main ones that you have to be aware of in this niche. And the first one is that when you're selling automotive products, you're almost certainly not only up against other online stores, but Amazon and eBay. And those could be either your competitors with other stores selling on those platforms or companies that uniquely sell on those platforms. But it is a challenge, and all things being equal, if you are selling at the same price point and you're competing with Amazon, it's a tough slog. So just be aware of that. The other thing when I talk about pricing that's not unique to automotive but often common is that the if you're a product reseller, the OEM may actually set a fixed MSRP, and you're not able to sell for less than that, which means it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, your competitors cannot beat you out on price, but on the other hand, you can't beat them out on price. So in that circumstance, you really have to focus on building a stronger brand, better creative, a better customer experience on your website, and just work on CRO so you can boost your conversion rate. That's where you're going to get your competitive advantage. In terms of campaigns, I kind of like focus on stores here first. So if you're an online store, you're going to run PMAX kind of 90% of your budget typically is going to go on PMAX, and most of that will be on your shopping ads, but certainly you will be running all the other inventory in PMAX as well. Just always make sure, as with any store, that your product feed is clean and complete with your titles, descriptions, GTINs, and all that stuff. And do make sure that in your product title that you do include the brand, model, and a concise part and product description as best you can. It's really going to help a lot with matching to the appropriate queries and getting a higher click-through rate on your shopping ads. The other thing I'd say is mandatory. I mean, just in general, optimize Merchant Center, but make sure you're using promotions and product review features. It's going to make you stand out if your competitors are not doing that. In terms of structuring your PMAX, I always recommend using broad asset groups, which means like don't run one for every like kind of minor different product that you have. Just very high level product categories. Feel free to split up your feed into multiple PMAX campaigns if you have different gross margins, so that you can set a different target ROAS. But try to group things with a similar margin into the same campaign. So don't just like go nuts and make 20 campaigns if you have a $10,000 budget. You're just creating a management nightmare, and you're going to lose focus, and you're probably going to have poor performance. Another thing to consider is just thinking about the big picture, and that is client lifetime value. So if you have a product where you're going to get recurring sales, or clients that will be loyal to your brand and come back and buy other things, then you need to really think about being more aggressive with your target ROAS, which means lower. And consider some of that cost, even if you're only like breaking even on the first sale, as client acquisition. I've written a few more articles about PMAX and Merchant Center, and I will share those in the video notes as well. The other thing, just if you're new to Google Ads, you may consider starting with standard shopping so that you can build up a history of search queries and then add negatives for those. And then eventually, after a few months, you can migrate over to PMAX and upload those negatives to Google so that you're blocking them or blocking the search queries. Over to search campaigns, so online store, mainly it's going to be PMAX or shopping ads. You will probably also want to run branded through search, topical for your top sellers or sale items, and maybe competitor brands, but honestly, it usually doesn't work out. Um, in terms of lead gen, if you're running lead gen instead of an online store, most of your ad spend is going to go to Google, sorry, into search ads, as much as 70, 80%. You may also do PMAX for lead gen if you're spending like 10K plus. Definitely makes sense to add that on. But again, search is going to be your cash cow. In terms of structure, I already mentioned, and it's kind of going to be the same for lead gen, which is branded, topical search, and competitor. Topical search is going to be by and large where most of your ad spend should go. In automotive, keep your keyword themes very tight. Use phrase match keywords to start. Once you're hitting your numbers, you can consider scaling the budget and experiment with broad match, but be careful with that because this industry is so large that Google will very easily color outside the lines. So just keep a tight rein on your search queries and look at those search terms reports like at least weekly with your optimization. In terms of creatives, make sure you use all your ad copy slots, images and videos, depending on the ad type. And use all of the assets or ad extensions you can. All of this stuff is going to really help you get a better click-through rate, which is going to yield a lower cost per conversion. One other thing to stand out in this situation, particularly if you're selling the same branded products as somebody else, is do your research, look at the competitors, see what language they're using, what features and benefits, and try to do things that set yourself apart. So if you have unique benefits to your store, make sure you include those and also use different language, even if you're saying the same thing, just so that your ad's not the same as the other five that are showing up there. Remarketing campaigns, if you are doing online selling, PMAX is going to take care of most of that for you with dynamic. If you're not doing that, if you're doing lead gen, I do recommend running a remarketing campaign. These days, we run most of them through demand gen just because it's premium Google inventory that tends to perform better than display. But by all means, you can experiment with display and video remarketing ads as well. In terms of other campaigns, once you're spending 25, 30,000 outside of remarketing, you may want to consider doing some higher funnel stuff like running video ads to in market. Same with display and demand gen. But again, if you're spending less than 25K, PMAX is going to take care of that for you and is probably going to be more efficient than you trying to do it manually. In terms of campaign optimization, automotive does tend to be more sensitive to seasonality and big sale times like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Consider using countdown insertion for your sales along with promotions and budgetary adjustments. It's really going to make a huge difference at those big key times of year. In terms of tools, the main tool that I recommend if you have an online store is Klaviyo because it's going to take care of it's one of the best products to take care of honestly like email and texting. And that's hugely important if you're going to have any type of ongoing client loyalty. And then the other tool I would say just in terms of if you're doing lead gen would be to run CallRail to track inbound calls. Particularly if 25% or more of your leads actually come from telephone calls. So that's it for today. It's a very challenging niche. We work with quite a few clients. And I hope this information has been helpful. Again, I do suggest you read the article, which will be a lot more complete and easier to digest. In addition to that, again, please do like our content and follow us on YouTube. That is it for now. I will see you next time.